Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free Flipboard magazine that brings you some of the best Mac, iPhone, and iPad productivity tips on the web. High in signal, low in noise, just like MacVoices, MacVoices Magazine includes information on how you can get more out of your Apple technology. Subscribe at macvoices.com/magazine or search for MacVoices Magazine on Flipboard. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is a MacVoices briefing on the MacVoices 2018 video rig that I used to shoot interviews at CES in Las Vegas. You know how it is. No matter how good something is, you want to tweak it, you want to try to improve it. My previous video rig was working just great, was giving good results, but I wanted to try to streamline it a little bit, make it a little bit easier for me to handle as a solo shooter. The other reason I wanted to produce this particular briefing was that this rig caught a lot of attention at CES on the show floor from attendees and exhibitors both. There's something compelling about it. I don't quite know why. But this will serve to document exactly what it is. I will have links in the show notes to exactly all the products involved so that if you want to duplicate it or use any part of it, you know exactly where to go and exactly what to get. To take it from the bottom up, no changes were made to the tripod. I still use the Manfrotto MKC3H01M that I've used for a number of shows now. It's relatively light at 2.5 pounds, very stable, and important for me, fits in carry-on luggage for the airlines. That particular model is no longer available, but the Manfrotto Compact Action Tripod is, for $79.99 on Amazon, and would be my choice for a replacement if I needed one. It has similar features and seems to fit the bill perfectly. Next up are the iOgrapher frames. I used two different setups for CES this year, one iPhone-based and the other iPad-based. The iOgrapher frames were the heart of both, with different iOgrapher models for each. The great part about the iOgrapher is its stability and its weight. They each hold the iDevice firmly with no chance of it falling out, a major consideration for moving the rig through a busy show floor. The iPhone model weighs in at just under 2 ounces, and the iPad version is just over 10 ounces. Quarter 20 threads allow the iOgrapher to be mounted on the tripod, and it's worth noting that there are two of those so that it can be mounted in either portrait or landscape mode, even though I tend to use the latter exclusively. With 2 cold shoe mounts on top of the iPhone version and 3 on top of the iPad version, there's plenty of room for expansion and gear to be attached to the iOgrapher and become part of the rig. Increasing the versatility of the camera on both the iPhone and the iPad versions is a 37mm thread lens mount that allows use of external lenses with the iOgrapher. There are several different lenses available directly from iOgrapher. I use their wide-angle lens for conference shooting because it allows me to capture more of the show floor and have the rig closer to the subject, cutting down on people walking in front of the camera, at least in theory. So now we get into some of the changes and upgrades to this year's rig. For a light source, I changed to a Lume Cube for its ease of use, its cost, and its weight. I usually use the first or second setting on the Lume Cube, meaning that there were 8 or 9 brightness settings left, and more options with the Lume Cube iOS app. It had plenty of power left at the end of the day, but if not, I could have recharged it on the fly using the micro USB port. Its relatively small size made the rig even more stable than my previous choice, another bonus. The biggest change and the biggest challenge, and the one that had me the most concerned, was trying to go with the wireless mic option. Because I'm a solo shooter, I don't have anyone on the camera to monitor the audio, and for that reason I've always gone with hardwired options. Even then, I had an epic fail a couple years ago at NAB. And of course then there's the associated hassle of having all those cables, including a mic cable, for people to trip over or catch and pull the rig over. So when I started doing some research, I looked at a lot of options, but I decided to go with an option recommended by Steve Sheridan, who has used this rig a number of times at CES with good luck. The Technica System 10 portable camera mount wireless system is digital, and the mic and the receiver pair for a reliable connection. The receiver is powered by an internal rechargeable battery that's advertised as having 12 hours of battery life, more than adequate for my purposes. The mic requires 2 AA batteries and reportedly lasts for 7 hours, though I had no problem getting a full day and even an evening of recording out of a set with my pattern of use. The mic performed well with decent off-axis rejection of the extremely noisy show floor, so you get a sense that there's activity all around, but the subject voices are distinct and easy to hear. The receiver mounted to the iOgrapher case via the cold shoe mount, and once in place was very solid. Separate mic and headphone outputs let me connect to the iPhone or iPad via the headphone jack, and the headphone output let me connect to a pair of Apple EarPods to occasionally check to make sure the audio is indeed working. One quick note: to adapt audio for the iPhone or iPad through the headphone jack, you'll need a Rode SC4 TRS to TRRS patch cable. Don't overlook this, or your audio input just won't work. This is not specific to the Audio Technica mic system or any other mic system, but has to do with the connection that iDevices use to handle audio input. I could go into lots of technical details about the Audio Technica, but you can look those up if you're interested. The system worked perfectly, and I would recommend it highly. Yes, it's expensive, but if it can perform on the CES show floor, it should work in pretty much any environment you throw it into. The mic flag, of course, isn't new, but I was concerned that it might not fit the Audio Technica mic, but it did just fine. If you want one, check out Impact PBS. They have quality products at good prices and terrific service. Filmic Pro is a video recording app I prefer and the one I used at CES because it offers so many controls and options, and also because it can display audio meters, another safeguard to make sure the audio is working. As you can tell, I'm still feeling a little burned by that NAB audio fail experience, so I want as much assurance that the audio is indeed being captured as I can get. A note on using the iPhone versus the iPad. The results are pretty much identical if you're using modern iPhones and iPads because the cameras are essentially identical, or close to it. The biggest reason to use an iPad is battery life. The iPad was able to go all day and handle a multi-hour press event in the evening as well and still have power left over. The iPhone, on the other hand, made it through an evening, but not with much battery left. Because the audio is now going through the headphone jack with this particular setup, I could use an external battery to help power the iPhone, but that adds complexity to the setup and weight to the setup. If you have it available and you have the need for longevity, it's much easier to use the iPad. If you don't have the need for that battery life and you're going to be moving your rig around, the iPhone version is definitely the way to go. The only other consideration is storage. If you're going to shoot in 4K, which definitely improves flexibility for editing, but also fills up your device much faster, you're going to need lots of storage, so whichever device you pick, make sure that you have plenty of storage cleared off and available. The bottom line is that if you already have an iPhone or iPad that you can dedicate to the task, and with the exception of the wireless mic option, this is a pretty affordable setup that offers plenty of flexibility and excellent results. If you have a need to be a bit more economical, consider the IK Multimedia iRig HD microphone as a wired alternative to the Audio Technica. It connects via the Lightning port and offers excellent sound. Depending on the kind of video shooting you're doing, you might want to include a Lightning extension cable from Cellularize to give the person with the mic a bit more range. So that's the current iteration of my video rig, bottom to top. It performs well. I've really enjoyed using it at CES, and I'm already looking forward to taking it back to Las Vegas for NAB in April, as well as using it for some non-MacVoices related projects. If you have questions about it, or about anything really, drop me an email at chuck@macvoices.com, hit me up on Twitter, or post something to the MacVoices Facebook group page, and I'll do my best to answer. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.